Welcome to Vikings basketball with head coach Barret Peery. It's been a little while because the Vikings have been out of town and they're home for the first time in 3 weeks. This weekend, Portland State taking on Idaho State Saturday night right here in the Viking Pavilion. Weber State on Monday, also here in the Pavilion. Coach, part of being a college basketball coach is traveling the country around and around, and you've been on that merry-go-round the last few weeks. How good does it feel to be home?
Really good. Yeah, the road is a challenge. Our guys have been through a lot. We've been in a lot of different places and had to deal with a lot of things, but it's always better to be at home no matter what.
And this year, just like last year, the Vikings a road-heavy schedule to start conference play, and then a lot of home games at the end of the conference season. And Coach, how does that maybe affect some of your planning for the season? How does that impact the team?
You try not to overthink it because you can sit there and say, oh, they have this advantage and we have this advantage and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is you got to just go one game at a time. As we met today with our team, the most important thing is this upcoming week with Idaho State. We've been through it a little bit on the road. We're coming off a great road victory at Montana State and then a disappointing one at Montana. But as we go through it, like you mentioned, in February it's much more top-heavy with being at home, and we're excited about that.
All right, and as the Vikings come home, dealing with some injuries again, they finally got healthy right around the end of the year, got back to a full complement of players, and then the injury bug hit. Vikings lost Matt Howser last week with an ankle sprain, unable to play. And then on Monday night, Sal Nuhu got ill and was also unable to play. How has that affected some of your planning? You're constantly having to change rotations, and what's the challenge there been for you?
Well, you said it. That's the challenge, and it's a next man up mentality for sure, and we told the guys that, but we've played so many guys this year that everybody's ready. We're disappointed not to be at full strength. When we left on the road, Matt sprained his ankle pretty severely, and that's kind of a day-to-day deal with him right now. But we missed him a lot on that trip. One of the big things with Matt has been he's been such a good complement with Boo Boo as far as them being able to rest each other, and take over some of the ball handling. And I thought we got through it pretty well at Montana State. But the second game on the road at Montana, I thought our guys got tired, especially Boo Boo, as we tried to go and finish that game as a two-point game with 8 or 10 minutes to go. And then we just didn't have any gas left in the tank. And we missed Sal and we missed we missed Matt during that time.
And the good news for the Vikings, they should get healthy down the road, fully healthy, expecting Sal Nuhu to be back on the court. We'll see as far as Matt Howser is concerned. You mentioned Boo Boo, and obviously he had to take on a bigger role this past weekend without Matt Howser there, and played maybe his best game as a Viking, certainly one of his best at Montana State, career-high 30 points. He hit that big game-winning shot with 2 seconds to go, and he broke a steals record, the career steals record. He now owns that record, the career assist record, and he's now in the top 10 in scoring at Portland State. We've talked about him a lot, but I'm going to give you a chance to say a few more words. And how big was he at Montana State?
Well, Montana State was simple. That at the end of the game there, they put the ball in their best player's hands, and he went and made a shot. But he left us a little bit too much time, and so we put it in our best player's hands, and he went and made the finishing shot. And that's how it went, and you wouldn't have expected anything less from Boo Boo or from Harold on the other side of it. But, Boo Boo's done amazing things here, and we still got a lot of time with him. So he's going to continue to rack up points and records and assists and steals and all those kind of things. But, he's been a good leader, and he's continued to grow in the program. He's just as good a guy off the court as he is on the court, and somebody that we really rely on and we lean heavily on almost from day one here.
All right, now as we look at this weekend's games, Idaho State Saturday night, the Bengals come in at 3-2. They actually play Weber State Thursday night prior to facing us, but currently in fourth place. What do you see from the Idaho State Bengals as they've had a transition in the offseason, a new head coach? And what do you see from the Bengals?
A lot of balance. They play a good group of guys, and they get the ball moving. They share it very, very well. They try to control pace and make sure it's their pace deep into shot clocks. So we're going to have to be patient as far as defending aggressively, but still it's going to go deep into some shot clocks, I would bet. They score 10 points less than us a game, and so I think the pace will be an issue for sure. We need to make it an issue for them. But they've done a really good job there, and as league play goes on and on and on, I guess we'll see how we all do. But they're a team that's gone on the road and won a game, and they won games at home as well, and so they're doing a good job.
And then we look ahead to Weber State on Monday night, and the Wildcats, don't be fooled by the record. It's kind of one of those cases as you don't poke the bear. I was looking at some numbers today. Weber State has won 22 Big Sky Conference championships, easily more than anyone. Right now, they're near the bottom of the conference, but we know Randy Ray is a great coach, and he's got some real talent there. They come in with Jarek Harding and Cody John, a couple really talented guards. They're a team that you're just kind of waiting for them to explode right now because they're not in a position we're used to seeing them in.
Yeah, and Coach Ray and I talk periodically. They've kind of gone through some things like we have, where random lineups from week to week and unexpected injuries and illnesses and things like that. But, you know, you already talked about the two guards that they have, and those guys can go out on any given night between the two of them, get 50 points and change a game. And so, you know, we'll have to be ready for them, and we'll really have to guard those two guys for sure. And then their guys around the basket are doing a good job. They lost some really good players last year with their 4 and their 5 men graduating, and so they've gone through a transition that way as well. But they've had injuries and changes in lineups as well, like us, to kind of make it to where people are still wondering who they really are.
And how do you feel about being back on this court Saturday night? That's got to be a pretty good feeling, at least for this coming week.
I hate the road. I really do. Like, I love being at home. I don't like the loneliness of being in a hotel room and waiting for games and trying to figure out what to do with your time a little bit. I like being at home. I like being in our own beds and being in front of our friends and family and being at home. And, of course, we love our home. It's a beautiful place to play, so we're excited to be back. And, you know, the guys were even mentioning today, it feels like we haven't been home in a month, and it felt like that for sure.
Well, it has been 3 weeks, so come on out and see the Vikings Saturday night, Idaho State, Monday night, Weber State, right here in the Viking Pavilion. And for all your information on Vikings basketball, go to govikes.com.